All right, weightlifting scoop. What's going on, guys?
Well, the first thing I want to know is how you trained last Monday.
Oh, I kilted on Monday. St. Patty's Day, pun intended.
Yeah. That was a bad pun.
Oh, my.
We've
heard this several times already today.
I think that was pretty damn good. I think
he's been kilting it.
We wasted that a little too early.
Us.
I was trying to save that one for it to come up naturally, but
no.
But no, everybody
right
should know
that.
Hey, when I say that one next year, everybody's going to be on the floor because they're going to forget about it.
They will.
You know, you got to reuse
I'm
jokes.
trying to
you
right
can't
now.
trust me with something that you want to say because I'll just blurt it out.
Well, yeah.
There you go.
Get it over with.
Well, that was the episode.
Well, that's it.
Okay.
That'll find out.
Travis killed it.
That's as high as, that's about the height of it right now.
Well, speaking of, did Tom wear his kilt on Monday? I wasn't here. So.
No, he
He did not.
He
did not.
Yeah.
I half expected to see that.
He did not even wear a memorable green outfit.
No, he had some sort of Lico outfit on.
Yeah, that's...
Which should be banned from the weight room.
That should be banned.
Yeah.
It should be banned from St. Patrick's Day. I mean, God, Alico? Or, like, if it was Alico, okay.
Oh.
Alico, no.
Podcast of the bad jokes.
Yeah, it's going to be bad joke podcast.
McLeco.
McLeco?
Yeah.
McLeco would be good.
McCauley.
Oh,
so,
McCauley.
did you celebrate St. Patrick's
I
Day?
did not. I'm not a big celebrator of much.
Thumbs down.
You know, I had my fun here.
I didn't even know it was St. Patty's Day. So, I'm behind on all fronts.
That's not good. Yeah, it's not good.
I did wear green that day.
You did?
Yeah.
You did? Several did. Several did.
You know, I read an article, too.
Well, congratulations.
Yeah, I know. I'm moving up there in the world. Well, in this article, they were saying that green is not even the color associated with St. Patrick. It's blue was his color.
Well, that's a downer.
Yeah, well, and they were talking about the odds of finding a four-leaf clover, which is like 1 in 10,000.
I appropriately wore blue jeans Monday. That's how I got.
Well, you've got a blue sweatshirt on today.
Well, this is black, really.
Oh, is that black?
Black,
well, it looks
yeah.
blue to me.
Yeah, well, I know. Your eyes are... It's not on. You're a little colorblind.
Well, we are still doing Complex Cruelty Month.
It is.
But I think we're going to take a week off because we have an inter-squad meet on Saturday. Just kind of like a little tune-up, just kind of get some heavy lifts, nothing crazy. I think a couple people have an opportunity to up their stipend if they do well, so that's kind of what's going on with that. But we do have a Complex Cruelty title belt.
And it's awesome.
Well, I mean...
WWE title belt.
I just Instagrammed it and tagged Dozer TDC on there and Neminator, and it's on my Instagram if you go check that out. I think...
Well, I don't have Instagram, so you can't really tag me in it.
Well, you've seen the belt, so...
Yeah.
This is
you don't
for everyone
actually
else.
have to look at Instagram.
I'm
now.
sure we'll see plenty of more pictures of this belt because...
On Instagram, it'll be smaller.
It is
Oh,
rather
really?
shiny.
Yes, it will
I mean,
be.
is this thing not beautiful? It is actually
It is.
a replica of the World Heavyweight Wrestling Championship belt from WWE. But we're going to do a little modifying on it.
Is that Velcro on there?
Oh, I
It
hope
is-
it's Velcro.
Oh, it is Velcro.
It is
God,
Velcro
yes.
on the back. That's how you put it on is Velcro. But basically, if this belt was a girl, it'd have big titties. So
Oh, that's nice.
Is it real gold? That's what I want.
It's real.
It's 12-karat plastic.
Is that simulated leather? I think it's simulated leather, isn't it?
That is also plastic. But
That belt will last forever.
if by forever you mean a week.
No, I mean it just cannot corrode ever.
Well,
It'll outlast
yeah.
the earth.
We'll see how Caleb does it with his first week because he is the victor of Complex
Now,
Cruelty
this is
so
something
far.
we got to bring this up here. This demands a little attention here. Is he going to be the sole owner of the belt forever, or does the belt pass on if somebody beats him the next time we do a
belt
complex?
yeah.
Pass on.
Yeah, I mean, we can't afford that, though. I
Just asking.
That could run into the
going
tens
broke.
of dollars.
Tens of dollars. Yes, we could.
We had to buy a new
We only
belt
got so
for every
much money
person.
over here.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, I mean, it has a little place right there on the bottom to put the exact complex that he won it with.
That's all right. Okay.
And,
Okay. Well,
Yeah, we could just put that on some.
So what complex did he win it with? What was his winning lift?
3 cleans, 3 front squats, 3 jerks. You had to do the cleans within 5 seconds of each other. He did 164, which was 85% of his 1 rep max. We went off percentage so that we could include Rebecca and Morgan if they so chose to do the complex.
and Rebecca had the lead, I think.
Rebecca
she
had the
did.
lead
Yeah.
with 84.9%.
Pooh.
So
I thought she
Caleb-
was the winner.
Yeah,
I did.
yeah,
The sheriff came home.
She did 90 kilos.
She did
yeah.
90
kilos. I think our best clean and jerk is what 10.
103 in competition, I know.
103
Yeah.
in competition.
I'm not
but she's,
sure what we were
this last
taking it
weekend,
off
she
of,
did
106
clean and
or
jerk
something.
235, I think.
Yeah, 235 pounds. Divide that by 2.2. I think it's like 106.8.
Yeah, 106 and change.
Yeah.
Exactly, 106.8.
Yeah, do the math, dude. Check it out. Pull out your phone.
Travis
son.
has got the math in his
I
head.
think it's like 106.83.
Wow.
You know? But
All right, we're going to
Check
test.
that, check that.
So in
Tatum.
other words, if she
Get
would have
on
got
that,
credit
Tatum.
for that lift, she would have won the contest.
Well, if you could have done it for the complex.
If she could
well,
have done
well,
it.
no.
Oh.
The day after.
Oh, for the contest, yeah.
I think it's more like 106.818182.
Okay.
So-
Yeah.
Okay.
Get it right, Travis.
Travis, come on, pick
I
up
was
your
pretty
game.
effing close. I was within 2 100ths of that
You're
bitch.
.01 off. God. Or so.
Well, he was not even that far off. He was two thousandths off.
Oh, I thought he said...
not even that much
I thought
off.
he said 83.
No, he said 82.
Oh, God.
I said 8.3, so I was
Oh.
I was
Oh, man.
1,200.
You're
weren't
way
even-
off.
You weren't even
You're like-
close. Jeez. You know where I got 82 from? I must have been thinking that.
12,000.
Yeah, that's where you thought. Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Uh,
In any case.
no, that was
Well,
pretty
speaking of the sheriff, in case you guys don't know, Caleb is the sheriff of the gym. Don't really know where that came from. But
Have you seen Caleb?
good. Well, you know what I think it is he wears these shoes that have the metal clips on them for the Velcro. And when he walks, it sounds like the spurs of a cowboy's boots. And he just
And
walks
plus
with
he's
a
scary
certain,
as shit.
And
certain
he-
authority.
He
and-
enforces the law. Like
He does.
the song "Mercy" came on.
I don't know that song. Can you sing it for me?
It's a rap song. Today is not Freestyle Friday. We'll think about that Friday. But anyway, so he freaked out and said, "We are not playing that song. I don't like it." And he turned it off. So he enforces the laws. Nobody complains when he does it. So we just call him the sheriff. So,
Again, appropriate.
but my point was, I forgot what I was talking about, but he's going to be on the show, I think, on Friday. I finally convinced him to get on the show, so I'm
You're
actually
kidding.
pretty excited about that.
Well, that's a pretty exciting news.
You know, he's having a breakout year. He's on Facebook now.
Yeah.
He has a smartphone, too.
For a while,
unbelievable.
Caleb was not into social media and stuff. He had kind of a brick phone, didn't have text messages. So now he's decided, hey, he's going to get Facebook.
He's joined the modern world.
He's and he's going to be on the podcast. So hopefully we can come up with something fun to talk about with him. He's actually a very fascinating person. So I don't think you guys have heard a lot from him. But
If you want to get an interesting conversation going with Caleb, talk about breeding bulls. He has a lot to say on that
I want to get in
topic.
on that one.
Yeah, he's got a lot to say on that topic.
well, truthfully, I mean, he is he did live on a farm, so he knows a fair amount about breeding bulls, I would assume.
Yes. Oh, no. I've heard him talk. I've actually heard him talk about it. He's quite knowledgeable. It's quite disgusting.
Yeah. A little bit more than the everyday
More than I wanted to know, actually.
everyday knowledge
Yeah.
of breeding bulls.
Well, there was a weightlifter, and his name was Henry Woodard, and his dad used to sell deer semen for a living.
That's an awesome job. That would have to be one of the most awesome things. It's funny. Like
Is
what
there
did
a
his
school for that?
What did his
I mean,
son say on career day? You know,
Wow.
that would have been really cool.
But, I mean, very wealthy guy. I guess it's kind of a big thing in Texas where doctors will pay a group of people that own a farm of some sort. So they kind of they breed these really big deer, and it's almost like a movie. The doctors pay to sit in a deer stand, and they're guaranteed that X number of deer are going to walk out in front of them of X number size. So, I mean, these doctors.
So it's a real sporting event.
Yeah, so a lot of these doctors, they have these huge deer heads on their wall.
Take the hunting out of hunting.
Yeah, they just paid for them to simulate it and push a deer out in front of them so he could shoot it. But, I mean, believe it or not, people pay a lot of money for that.
Oh, I would believe that.
Well, they have ranches down in Texas that am I not talking into a microphone? They have ranches down in Texas that have all kinds of animals for quote unquote hunting. They're big, hundreds of acres, thousands of acres, and they have all kinds of African game and everything else that is trapped on that ranch. And you can pay a person to go out and find you a big, like a kudu or something, for you to shoot. And it seems like it's kind of taking the sport out of it, but if you have the money, then I think that it's probably a great thing. If I had like $10,000 to pay for a rack on my, wall, for like kudu or some kind of African game, I mean, hell, I'd do it. What would be really great?
I think if I had $10,000, that would not be the first thing.
Well, what would be really great is if they had lions.
I think I would take a trip to Europe and or somewhere else and not work.
That would be
or
it.
Hunt, personally. But
You guys should go spearfishing.
Spearfishing.
There's a lot of excitement of just that primal getting a spear in your hand and stabbing a fish.
If you're willing to take us, we'll go, because I guarantee you we have no idea how to do that.
I will guarantee there will be injuries.
And I can guarantee you that James does know how to do that.
I used to fish with a bow fishing. So, and that's
up
pretty
in a
much the
stream
same
or
as
something?
Yeah, and on the river.
Yeah.
The carp will spawn and in the river. And
Now tell me something about that. I've actually got a question about that. I understand when you're stabbing or shooting a bow at something in water, you have to adjust because of the light.
You do the refraction.
That's what it was. The refraction.
Yeah, if it looks like your bow or your arrow or your spear or whatever is going to hit the fish, it's actually not going to hit the fish. It's going to go a few degrees above the fish. Okay. So you've always got to aim low, a number of degrees off of where you should hit, so that you make what's it called? You adjust for the refraction of the water.
No. There, I've learned something, and all you people out there listening to the weightlifting type podcast here have learned information that you didn't really care about.
Useful things
it is
about
very useful.
spearfishing.
I mean, if you had
of course it is.
If you had a bow and you were standing outside of the water and you were hungry,
it would be useful.
Now you know.
And believe me, if you're a weightlifter through your life, you're going to be hungry sometimes.
So we actually heard there was this lady who was stranded on an island for 7 years. Was that right?
7 years.
7 years. I read that today.
Google Earth, I guess, the satellite's been taking pictures or whatever,
Yeah.
and it found this woman, so they were able to save her. Is
Some
that right?
kid in Minnesota just looking at stuff. Found the SOS. She had put a big SOS on the beach.
That's insane, really.
7
think
years.
about it.
7 years. That's a long time to be stranded on an island.
There was an interesting.
Where was the island?
Oh,
I don't know.
I think it was out. It was somewhere. I think in the Atlantic side of the Panama Canal, but I'm not sure. I know there was talk about her and friends went through the Panama Canal, and then they ran into storms and it threw them off course and all this other stuff. And she got stranded. There was an interesting part of it where she had to kill. She killed this wild goat that had evidently got stuck somehow, got its horn stuck in a rock cliff or something. But she really didn't know how to kill it and didn't have weapons. And she tried to strangle it, and it was she said it was gruesome. She finally had to bash its head in or something like that. But she needed the food. But but 7 years.
I would say in 7 years she probably needed some food.
I would say.
Yeah.
Now she should have bred that goat. That would have been the...
So you never know when you'll need this information.
That's
if
right.
You get stuck
Because,
on an
I mean,
island.
there still are places in the world that don't have modern technology.
We're seeing a big story this week about that airplane. We think the world is mapped and covered with radar and stuff, and it is evidently not. Because they don't know what the hell happened to that
Obviously, they just got to look at Google Maps and they'll find it.
thing. Honest to God, James, I wouldn't doubt that happens. Because you've got so many people looking at stuff like that now that it's like having one big detective squad. I mean, that was a kid in Minnesota that found that woman.
Yep. Crazy.
How thankful must that woman have been to that kid in Minnesota that found her on an island somewhere in the Atlantic?
She probably didn't know what Google Maps was.
She didn't.
Yeah.
She said she didn't. She had
Oh,
no
really?
idea what it was. She had no idea what that was.
Her life is about to change pretty quick.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I wonder
it'll
if
be
they're going to
interesting.
do a movie about her.
Oh, well, unfortunately, I think Tom Hanks has already done that movie. But there'll certainly be a book.
Well, it's hard to be mad at Tom Hanks.
It is. It is.
Well, I mean, there's a competition between him and Nicolas Cage to who the
There
greatest
is
actor
no
in the world
competition
is.
between
yeah.
him and Nicolas Cage.
Nicholas.
Well, Nicholas would have to be an actor to be in Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, he was in movies.
Shows my hand.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Nicolas Cage. Although, what was that one movie he was in where they were trying to find the Constitution or
National Treasure.
National Treasure.
Not bad.
Not the
Not bad.
Constitution, something.
The
Declaration of
Declaration.
Independence.
Yes, he had to steal it to save it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, well, I didn't say it
Yeah.
made sense. It made a pretty good, funny movie.
Well, they were treasure hunting. I think
Yeah.
they were looking for some lost treasure.
Right.
See, well, you got to realize that in all of his movies, he is always the man in the character. Just like, well, I guess that comes across wrong. He's always portrayed as extremely cool.
It's compensating. It's
Why?
Yeah.
compensating.
Well, you know what I did here? A couple of years ago, I think he got a foreclosure on a couple of his houses. And some of the things that they were saying that he had was crazy. They said he had like this snake venom, like
Anecdote?
anti-venoms or whatever.
Anti-venom, yeah.
Worth like a wall of every type of snake bite possible. He had a head of a Tyrannosaurus Rex, the skeleton. So he had just this stuff that was worth like millions of dollars that has no practical use.
Well, let me tell you something about stuff.
Stuff.
He obviously didn't spend his money wisely.
Oh no.
Well, this stuff that he has, it may be worth a lot of money, but you got to get someone to pay you that money for it to be worth that amount.
Well, actually, you just need to get Nicolas Cage to pay you.
For the stuff.
You want to sell stuff.
You think we could
You
sell
caught
this?
Nicolas
You
Cage,
think
man.
Nicholas would be interested in our complex belt?
He's not a good actor. But
No.
he'll
buy
stuff. Oh man.
Oh, God.
He doesn't have a chance to win this belt. I'm just throwing that out there.
No, he's not.
But
It's
so
not up for sale,
That's right.
we do
especially to
have
Nicolas Cage.
some awesome news. We have we announced this before, but we're going to announce it again. We have finalized the tryout. We are having a tryout. So May 3rd. Glenn, do you have any more details on that?
Other than everybody's invited, we expect there to be a fairly decent sized crowd. But we want to make it as big as we can. I know that the date, like somehow interferes with like the Southeast Regional or something like that. So that'll probably cut
CrossFit
down.
Southeast
Yeah,
Regional.
CrossFit.
Okay, I didn't know that.
So that would probably cut down on how many spectators we have. But we're definitely, going to, open up an outside, what's that little thing that we have, like a, not
The
a booth.
trampoline box or something. You got the whatever where kids can jump, or
Like a moon bounce.
are we going to have a barbecue
I
or
think
things?
he's talking about one of those like big tents.
Yeah,
Oh,
a
big
big
tent,
tent sale.
yeah.
So we'll
Oh,
have a
we haven't-
sale,
That's right.
muscle driver
That's right.
equipment, probably bars and stuff like that.
I'm sure we'll have food.
And for
so we'll have food.
grown kids like us, there will be a bouncy house.
I haven't confirmed the bouncy house.
I know there was a lot of talk about
as
a bouncy
of right
house.
now, there's like a 17% chance. that we're gonna
17?
have a bouncy house.
17.56.
No, 17.818182.
Yes.
You're so much better at math than me, James.
It's really showing
Especially
up
when
today.
he picks the numbers
Yeah,
off the
you
top
got
of his head.
it right. Yeah.
I know exactly
Yeah.
the
So,
probability of this thing.
are we looking at a particular or any loose number of competitors on this day?
Well, I'm hoping there's 50 or more.
50 or so. Yeah.
I mean,
50
we've
or more.
had around that number our last two competitions.
Yeah. And this is a tryout if you're interested in trying some time for the team, but it can also be just an open meet that you want to attend.
Yeah, it
Yes.
seems like most of the time, when we had these events in the past, majority of the competitors are just, there to post a total.
Yeah.
It is going to be USAW sanctioned, though.
Yeah.
So
that'll be
if you're
good for
looking
anybody
a
looking.
qualifying total or anything
Right.
like that. It'll be useful for that.
Perfect time to qualify for nationals.
Excellent
Yes.
time.
Yes.
Excellent time. Plus, did we mention the bouncy house possibility?
And the 17.8181%.
Is it
If
moved?
we
Has it
actually
moved at
had
all?
a
Yeah.
bouncy house.
We wouldn't be able to get our lifters out of it.
Exactly. We'd end up having no meat because everyone would be in the bouncy house.
I know. We'd have to.
And I expect that I probably, again, will announce the meet. And just unless, I have too much trouble reading the cue cards.
Make them big.
Yeah, we could make them big. We could do that, probably.
The ones at the American Open, or no, the ones at the Arnold were gigantic.
Yeah, that's
They
a
were
good
They were
idea.
like whole sheets of paper. It's
That's a good
ridiculous.
idea. Yeah. I don't want to be trying to, interpret small
Small numbers.
chicken scratches on a sheet of paper somewhere. I want to have big numbers
Well, so
to make it easy.
a couple of our guys will be competing in this meet. Maybe up their qualifying totals for nationals, make it an A session and or qualify for nationals. And then there will be a certain number of people trying out for the team. But like Glenn said, in the past there's maybe like 10 people trying out for the team most of the time. The other 40 to 50 competitors that we're going to have are not going to be trying out for the team. So it's not an exclusive. You have to want to be on the team or try out for the team to come.
It just occurred to me too. I think we're going to have Jacob Zipkin and Ariel Stevens out here for that.
Yes, we're going to have Jacob out here for that, and that
Great,
should be fun.
great
He's going to
lifter,
be
Ariel
here.
Stevens.
He's going to be here beforehand to.
Nobody wants to meet him though.
Nobody wants to meet him,
No,
but he's going to be
no.
here anyway, just to get some training in with Ariel. And I, for one, am looking very much forward to having her out here. She's a hell of a lifter that really nobody's ever seen.
She's an absolute beast.
Because
I'll
she's,
tell you.
she's been to nationals and whatnot, but really, other than that, she only pretty much competes on the West Coast.
Yep.
Or the
Yeah,
left
so-
coast,
Left
as some
coast.
people say.
Yes.
It'll be good for Morgan and Becca to have another girl in the gym for a couple days at least.
Yeah.
So that should be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Should we just blatantly say that we'd like some women to come up and try out for the
Well,
team?
of course we should.
I think just
Because-
let's get it out there. I mean, come on.
Our team right now is we have, 9 men and
We have 100.
2 females?
We have 150 men and 1 female.
Yeah,
That's no
yeah,
good.
basically
Yeah,
something
that's
like
about something
so
like
we're
that.
very interested in having more females on the team, but you've got to come and try out.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there are women out there that could make the team and get a stipend even that just haven't tried out.
Yep.
So
And I think what Travis, you'll know better than me probably, but at the American Open, even the women, we didn't enter our women as a team, but I think the 3 of them would have ended up taking the 3rd place team title, I believe, or 3rd place in the team title.
I'm honestly not sure, but I mean, I do know that probably the perception of our team is that we're not recruiting women. So you just heard it from our 2 coaches. We want to recruit women.
Yeah.
And we want to get a team so we can start placing at national meets as a team and not just send Morgan and Becca out there to do individual things, but also, win team titles.
well, the ultimate goal is to be able to win the team title for men and for women. That would be absolutely awesome, and that's something I'd love to do, but we just don't have the women now.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're a woman
And a lifter.
and a lifter,
Talking to you.
we're talking to you. Yeah, get out here and compete, and hopefully you could get a spot on our team.
Hey, and by all means, that's not saying to the men out there that we're not interested. It's just, just making sure that the perception is not to the women that we're not looking for women weightlifters.
No, we're definitely looking for females. I mean, there's a lot more room on the team for females because we only have 2. So, and counting Neiman, 3. But she's still a school-age lifter, so we don't usually get her out here for meets. She comes out here like during the summer and during spring break and whatever to train with us, but usually is not here for competitions. And oddly enough, even though she was here for the American Open this year, she's not usually here also for big meets like that. So we need more girls.
Yeah.
To make a long story short.
Hey, Glenn, will you step off my headphone wire? Left foot.
See, we need more women to help us with stuff like this.
Yeah. Woman would be a big help in keeping me off of Travis's wire.
Here.
Well, that.
So what are we talking about?
I don't know, but we need help.
Yeah,
Something.
well, I mean, the wire was getting pulled. I was like sideways.
He was going down.
So if you were wondering why Travis wasn't on the show anymore,
I was oblivious.
He was
Absolutely
Travis was being
oblivious.
choked to death over on the other side of the table. Nobody noticed.
But speaking of a meet, so I wrote an article that was kind of about things to do not related to the lifting when you get to a meet. So I think this kind of ties in with the tryout. So, for instance, some things that I recommended that people do is a couple of weeks before the meet, if you have deadlines at work that are coming up, try to get ahead on your deadlines so you're not stressed out the week before the meet. Make sure that your weight is reasonable.
And a lot of things that a lot of lifters tend to forget until last minute is you have to know how much you weigh, which means you have to have some scale that is accurate. And a lot of people get down to the leaving for the competition and they still don't know if their scale is accurate or not. And if you're in that position, that is very, very, very stressful. If you are, leaving for competition and you don't know, especially if you're traveling cross country or something like that, you don't know your scale. You should, if you think you're going to be in that position, take care of it somehow. Even if you have to go to a doctor's office or something like that to actually find out if your scale is correct or incorrect. But that's something a lot of people do, and they show up at a competition to check for their weight on the check scale, and they can really be surprised if you're a kilo over, heavier than you think you're going to be, or a kilo under. That can throw you for a loop.
Yeah, so of course you got to know what your weight is, and before you travel, your goal is to really minimize stress in general. So, make sure that you have a hotel room booked. Make sure that you have a flight booked, or those things are obvious, but sometimes people they're posting on Go Heavy or Pendlay forum and they're like, "Hey, I don't have a room for the meet." Make sure you have those things worked out. And when you get there, try to check your weight. You can usually always get on the competition scale the day before to make sure that your scale is accurate when you get there.
And checking out the competition venue is very important. I think it's really something that, again, a lot of people overlook. But if you are not able to get on the platform until, directly before your competition, again, that's something that can throw you for a loop. At the minimum, you should be able to step up on the platform and get a feel for where it is in the room and find a focal point for you to get your eyes on and things like that. While you're, doing the weigh-in or something like that, you don't want to be going out to the platform for the first time when you're going out to compete.
Yeah, definitely. You got to know your surroundings and even knowing things like how sharp the bar is, shaving your calluses down if you need to a couple weeks out just to make sure that your hands are good, make sure your hands are healthy. There's a lot of little things that you can do. So obviously, number one goal at a meet is to make weight. You can't compete if you don't make weight. And you want to make that as smooth as possible. Now, as far as after weigh-ins, we got James here and me here, and we're pretty experienced in cutting weight, so kind of like post weigh-in nutrition. If you're having to cut weight, we always drink Pedialyte.
Yeah, I like Pedialyte a lot. I mean, after my last competition.
What flavor do you drink?
It's like strawberry, grape, whatever they have.
Yeah.
As long as it's not cherry.
Even the plain. Well, I mean,
Don't they have some unflavored stuff?
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're drinking that, they still have some sugar in there too.
Yeah,
So
sure.
it's still sweet. I had to cut a good bit of weight after this last meet, and it tastes. You have like a craving for something sometimes if you're on a strict diet. Like you might be craving, I don't know, McDonald's hamburger, and then you're craving it and you're imagining it's going to be so wonderful, and then you finally go get your McDonald's hamburger, and it's just like, that wasn't very good. When I drink Pedialyte after I weigh in, it's like fulfilling every craving I've had for food when cutting weight.
Pedialyte satisfies.
Very much so.
There you go.
Well, I mean, you could buy the cheap brand Pedialyte's like $5 a piece.
They're not as good.
You can.
I've had those. They really aren't.
They're the same thing to me. I mean, I can't tell the difference.
Okay.
It's got the same
James
stuff
is
in
very
there.
thrifty, so
Yeah.
but in a good way, he saves money.
But I tell you, it's funny that this came up today just earlier. Glenn and I were talking about this earlier, and I hadn't thought about it for years, but I used to make my lifters use Pedialyte rather than Gatorade or anything else. It's just sensible. I mean, the stuff it's made for babies. It's going to be balanced correctly.
Yeah.
It's going to give you plenty of stuff without a lot of crap.
So post weigh-in, if you've had to dehydrate at all, I'd recommend drinking some Pedialyte. And obviously you want to have somewhat of a balanced meal right after weigh-ins.
Pedialyte
Something with
should
some
start
carbohydrates, fats and protein. I've just found this isn't necessarily by the textbook the best thing that you can get after weigh-ins. I've just found for practical purposes that a 6-inch Subway sandwich is easy to find. It's usually on the way to weigh-ins, so you can get it fresh enough. So maybe it's not the best thing by the textbook, but it's reasonable to find that.
Yeah. And that's the other thing too, is you don't want to stress yourself out by trying to find food.
Oh.
Just find something easy.
Yeah,
I'm the
That's
same way.
the worst.
Yeah.
If-
A lot
Subway
of times
sandwich?
if you're in a motel or something, your only choice is something that's in the motel. And a lot of times those will be meals that aren't really designed for weigh-in.
Not only that, but and we all have these. A lot of our meets are at hotels and things like this. But it's almost a rule that a hotel restaurant will not be able to handle the number of people that are going to come into it at once, wanting food right after a weigh-in, and you're going to have to wait for your food, and it's going to drive you crazy. So it's good to have, just like
probably
Travis
cost
said.
you
It's going to cost you
$45
too
too.
much anyway. But like Travis said, have something like a Subway sandwich on hand already, and you take care of things real quick.
Yeah. So Subway sandwich during the meet, I drink Gatorade and water, and between snatch and clean and jerk, I personally come to like Fig Newtons, but I know James likes his Snickers bar between snatch and clean and jerk. Do you still do that?
Only if I'm getting lightheaded.
Yeah.
If I'm not, I won't really eat anything.
Yeah.
I used to have the Korean coach I used to work with recommended chocolate between snatch and clean and jerk.
It's kind of
That
a
was
good
big
way
thing.
to get some high glycemic index carbs, get them in your system quick. If you're getting lightheaded, just kind of a way to get your wits about you before the clean and jerk comes up. So
Yeah.
A lot of lifters that have cut a ton of weight don't really do anything between snatch and clean and jerk, and your blood sugar can really crater between snatch and clean and jerk because you've already exerted yourself quite hard for the snatch, and then you got the clean and jerk coming up. And I've had a lot of lifters get in a situation where they've cut weight hard, they've eaten something before weigh-in, but then after they've snatched, they crater. They absolutely crater. So having something on hand that you can actually take to the warm-up room to snack on directly after the snatch, so you can get something in your stomach and get some kind of nutrition inside you, is very helpful.
yeah, and the main thing about this was that these are kind of things that oftentimes people don't think about. Even experienced lifters, sometimes I'll see they don't plan ahead on these things, and they're scrambling.
Yeah.
And so instead of being worried about just pulling as hard as they can when they get out there, they're worried about, oh my God, is my coach going to be able to find my Snickers bar for between snatch and clean and jerk? And oh man, I didn't get Pedialyte. Is there a gas station nearby that I can get Gatorade? Oh man, the restaurant is packed. Where am I going to get food? You know, they didn't get the Subway sandwich on the way there. Or, so the main point is if you can prepare and come up with a plan, you know, even if you don't do what we recommended, I mean, come up with a plan and relieve some of that stress. You can lift so much better if all you're thinking about is pulling on that bar. And I guess one other thing that I had questions about was kind of like after training or after a competition, when you get back into training, I think some people have different ideas. Some people like to take time off. Some people like to get right back into training. What do you guys think?
I think that time off 90% of the time is a bad idea unless you have been injured or something like that and you're nursing something that's hurting. Sometimes there's a reason for time off in that instance, but the majority of the time, what works best is to just get right back into training and do something low intensity that doesn't really cause you to have, you know, to stress too much, something that doesn't tax you too much. But I am a big believer that getting right back into training is usually the best thing. I mean, let's face it. I mean, we all are working within a time frame, whether it be, you know, to the next year's nationals or the next Olympics or whatever you're working. You only have a certain amount of time in a competitive career. And, even though you're probably not going to be, you know, the weekend after a competition, you're probably not going to be doing your heaviest lifts, or there's always something you can work on, and you can put that time to good use.
Stay a little bit active, but lower intensity. I usually tend towards the lifts like the squats and things like that, rather than the classic lifts at their near full intensity or something, or do reps with the classics and, you know, play around. But, you know, the squats, I don't think you should forget squats for a week anyway.
That's a good,
even if it's light. It's
a good chance, directly after a meet to do something fun, you know, do something different, something that you haven't.
Complex Cruelty Month.
Yeah. Like Complex Cruelty Month.
Exactly.
Something that you haven't done in the gym.
Bouncy house.
Yeah. Find a bouncy house.
Watch out. Those things will wear you out quick.
Well, I don't have a lot of experience in bouncy houses.
Well,
I'll take your word for it.
Let's
James.
just say that WWE belt, if that was for a bouncy house competition, I would be competing for it.
Wow. See, we may have to get a bouncy house.
No, I mean, don't do it, because I'm not going to be able to hold myself back.
Don't do it.
James Tatum, bouncy house Olympics.
Got Pan Am's.
Hey, what'd you say? You only have a certain amount of time. I mean, we had that jump rope seminar here, and it was a week before the Arnold, and I had to hold myself back from going out there and making myself too sore in the calf from doing a bunch of jump ropes.
I wanted to do some jump ropes. Not a good amount of jump ropes. I didn't look good doing it, but I actually did some jumping of a rope. You know, I accomplished.
Are there any
getting
films
over
of
the
that?
rope.
Is there any video of that?
I think there are.
We should get that video.
Somebody videoed.
Post that video.
Josh videoed that.
Josh videoed some of it.
Did he?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think he did. But, you know, like I said, I think I managed to get over the rope like 5 or 6 times. In one of the times that I tried. So it wasn't anything earth-shattering, although hearing me come down might have been earth-shattering.
A little earth-shattering.
But, you know, it was fun. That was the main thing, is it was fun. And it's great to do something fun when you've been stressed out for a competition and you've competed and you're getting back into it. Finding something that is fun to do and gets you excited a little bit is good for you.
Well, here's the way that I look at it. I mean, you basically back off about 2 weeks before a meet, right? You got a lot of volume, this and that you've built up, and then you kind of back off so that you're ready to hit big lifts. So when you go to a competition, you're, in theory, completely fresh. It's not always the case, but if you are fairly fresh and you feel good at the meet, when you come back home after taking a couple more days off, I mean, you ought to be feeling great. I mean, honestly, I've hit most of my PRs coming home from a meet. Not like in the single, but, you know, for like triples and doubles and stuff like that the week after a meet. Why waste that time? I mean, that's the time when you can really hit those PRs because you're peaked out. Now, if you went to a meet and you're extremely fatigued and you could tell you didn't do very good because you're in the dumps, then that's different. But I think some people intentionally take a couple weeks off after a meet, and I think it's a mistake because that's the time when you're the most fresh. You're ready to go. You're healthy, at least in theory.
Yeah. Yeah, at least in theory.
So we also I need to clear the air. The Cooper Complex is. Well, there's just been a lot of videos posted of a lot of different things, and they're calling it the Cooper Complex on the Muscle Driver channel. So,
well, you're Cooper, so you would know.
I wanted to clarify what the Cooper Complex was. 1 clean, 1 front squat, 3 front of the neck jerks, 5 back squats, 2 behind the neck jerks. So
that just sounds evil.
It sounds horrible. It really does.
It is horrible in a phenomenal way. But anyways, I just wanted you guys to know what the Cooper Complex was in case you wanted to kill yourselves.
I think, yeah. I won't be doing that.
I didn't even do the 3 jerks. I did 1 jerk, and then the front squat, or then the back squat, and then 2 jerks from behind the neck, and I was laying on the ground. It was tough.
Well, these are things that have to be or should be done by all weightlifters sometimes of the year.
Yeah, we've done a lot of complexes coming back after a meet, or well before the next meet.
Sure.
And I've always had good luck with them. We mentioned this before, but you can tailor whatever you're doing in the complex to what your weak point is. And I think a lot of times, you can definitely build some work capacity and hone in on any weaknesses you have or whatever with the complex.
And I think it's good to do a couple different ones, but I think as you're building the work capacity, the only way that you can truly measure your progress is if you do the same one a few times throughout the weeks. Because if you're doing different complexes, today, next week, the next week, you really don't know if you've built more work capacity or if you've gotten stronger in that exercise. So find a complex that targets your weakness and try to do the same one a few times.
What are some of the ones we used to do on the snatch? It was basically like 2 snatches plus 2 or 3 overhead squats.
Snatch plus hang snatch plus 2 overhead squats was the most common one. And over time we've done snatch pull plus 2 hang snatches plus 2 overhead squats, stuff like that. I don't think they work as well in the snatch, to be honest. But in the clean and jerk, man, I think if you want to beef up your clean and jerk, you got to build those strong legs and you got to have work capacity so that you're ready for the jerk.
Well, as everybody knows that's done any kind of these complexes with the clean and jerk, if you've got a jerk after you've done a couple of squats and a couple of cleans, man, you'd better have jerk form. You better be able to count on your technique is pretty good because you got no muscle left.
Just heart in general, you know, it just teaches you how to have that grit, which, I mean, if you want to be a weightlifter, you got to have that grit, the heavy weights, and you can kind of start building it with the lighter complexes. I guess we got to get to training. You guys got any last minute things?
Not really. I'm boring today.
I will do a plug for an article that's not ours. This came off First Pull, I think. Yes.
Who does that?
Who is that? It's John up in Millette, I think. I think that's his.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Is Millette up in Canada? It's a real simple article. It's how to be a successful weightlifter, and it's real short. It's 10 rules basically, and he goes through things that have to happen. You need a strong will. You need consistency. Trust your coach. Have to see weightlifting as fun. Have a good support group. Things like that. It's not a bad, simple guide. And stuff that I think, especially stuff that we know is important. We know, for instance, anybody that's an adult weightlifter and been doing it for a while knows that your support group is incredibly important. And if you don't have one, I think it always hurts your possibilities.
Yeah, so I read that article too. It's pretty good. Firstpull.net, is that correct?
Firstpull.net, yeah.
Yeah, and
I shared it on my Facebook.
The highlights seem very obvious, but he does go into more detail in each of the sections.
Right.
So, check it out. It definitely kind of like hammers away. You may not learn anything new, but something that you might have been neglecting, it might reinforce that. Also, Don McCauley, you have a seminar in
That's true.
Decatur.
Decatur, down with Shayna Alverson at her CrossFit down there. This Saturday, I think we're going off at about 9:30. Going to bring Shawn Michael in honor of St. Patrick's Month. Going to bring Shawn Michael Rigsby down with me. He's going to, if they've got jerk racks big enough, we'll try to get about a 200-kilo jerk.
She's got some jerk racks.
There we go. Shawn's in heaven.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Decatur, Georgia is just north of Atlanta on the north side of 285. So if you're in the Atlanta area, please check that out. Go to muscledriverusa.com. Go to the Catapult Clinic page, and you can sign up for that this weekend. And we will have the sheriff on Friday, Sheriff Whitby, and he's going to tell you.
I am so mad that I am going to miss this.
He's going to tell you guys how good it feels to be holding the title belt. So we will see you guys on Friday.